the things you think you know are going to happen and don't happen, but then the things you don't know about are going to happen, and it's all just a blur. Nothing actually makes sense. You don't know which way is up. You're just going to be tired. You're just going to be tired.
And never get enough sleep. Never get enough sleep. Like, even when you are sleeping, you're not sleeping. Like, you're not really getting like rest sleep, because like with a newborn or whatever, you hear a baby cry, let's wake up and check my child. Like, there's just that like instinctive, like I remember like the first year was like, I suffered so bad, because him crying was like so extremely painful for me. For some reason, I physically felt it in my body. So it was like, I could not, like, there was no cry it out. There wasn't any like little breaks. Like, I couldn't physically take it. Like, it was terrible. So like, if you lay down and your baby starts getting up and making noises and doing, you're like, I must go to my baby. You are a zombie. Like, you literally, you're in zombie mode for at least the first year, like at least, like, you know, it's because once you get past the, you know, like the 4th trimester and you guys all start getting adjusted and you start getting a sleep schedule and feeding schedule and whatever, then guess what happens? They start teething.
Right. Oh my God.
Teething comes next. Freaking misery of all in. And then when you get that adjusted, you get through that and you start feeding and sleep schedule again, they start teething again.
I feel like my kids started, like, he just seems like the slowest and fastest teether ever. I think he started teething at like 3 months. And I was like, this is too soon. This is not supposed to be happening this early. I don't know why this is happening so early. And it's just kind of dragged on and on and on. And now he's getting his molars again. We're like, oh, okay, here we go again. Tylenol, Motrin. What do we do? Here's all of this stuff that you can chew on. Here are things you cannot chew on. Don't chew on. No. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. And my kid was like, as he got older, like Motrin, Tylenol seemed to be his thing. But when he was like a baby, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what you gave him. He did not care. None of that stuff works. So like, I did more like making like, giving him little teether toys that were like cold, or like sticking them in a freezer for a few minutes or whatever, and letting him chew on those, and like giving him little, like when they start eating and stuff like that, having solid foods and whatever, let him chew on his little spoons and, you know, whatever. Cause I was like, anything, cause that's what our pediatrician was like, let them chew on things. That's the thing, is because the more they chew on things, the more it helps with their gums and getting the teeth out and all that stuff. So like during the day, like how we got sleep was literally the day I was like, just keep putting things in your mouth, kid. Like, just keep chewing on everything. Nope, that's too soft. You need something harder, you know. Then he just run around. And then later I seen, when my kid was kind of out of the teething stage, they have those little mittens with the little chewing mitts. And I was like,
we tried those.
I was like, how come nobody ever told me about this? Because, you know, your kids like chews on this. And I was like, oh, I should have got one of those. I never got to do one of those. Did they work for you, or they didn't work?
No, he would never keep them on his hand. You'd give them to him. You'd finally get the Velcro around his wrist, and he'd just be like, take it right off, look at it, throw it. Like, I was like, this is brilliant. He's chewing on his fingers. Let's get him these things. And he was like, nope, don't want anything to do with that. Nope, I'm good.
I don't want something on me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want to be like, it's like putting socks on them. Like, I don't want something on my feet. Like, what is this? But then you're like, but you want to be swaddled. You know what I mean? Like, baby's like, but you want to be wrapped in this blanket so tightly you can't move. And my kid was like, we swaddled and all stuff, but he didn't really like it. Like, would he always have like an arm out somehow? Like, you could do the tightest, whatever. Even the nurses were like, he's amazing. Cause he just have like, you'd see like, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, dude, how are you doing it? Like, he was just that kid. So I was like, and see, I thought those mitts, I was like, maybe those mitts would be a good idea. But at that point he was already too old for the mitts. So it was like, it was done. But I was like, so this time around I was like, I could try one of those. But now that I know that, thinking about it, he'd be like, Like, something's on me. My hand tastes better. Like,
Yes. Always. Yeah, Evan wound up rolling over at a week and a half old. Like literally like fully rolling over. And at first I was like, okay, is he doing a newborn curl? Because it looks like he's trying to get his leg over, which, I know from, safe sleep is any sign of rolling. I'm like, he can't. He's only a week and a half old. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And he just went right over. So I went to my husband and I was like, I don't know what to do because he just flipped over. He's like, no, he didn't just flip over. Like, there's no way. And he was laying there and then they just flipped over again. We're like, okay. So we ditched the swaddle, which in hindsight was actually a really good decision to do it sooner rather than later, because then we didn't have to have the fight about it. So, next time around, if we have another kid, it'll be straight to formula, no breastfeeding, straight to formula feeding, and then straight to sleep sacks. Like, no swaddling, just don't do it. Any habit that you're gonna have to break later on and it is gonna cause you so much more stress for sleep, just don't do it. Like,
yeah, those sleep sacks are the best.
Yeah,
those are the best. The swaddling was like a little bit more stressful because you have to like put it on in a certain way, and a lot of times they're wiggling and they're not having it, and they're like, what are you doing to me? And then like sometimes my kid was really funny because he'd be like, ah, and then like once I got him in, he'd be like, oh, like he was like that kid that would just be like, I'm like, all right, you're good, but then the sleep sacks were like the best things ever, because you could just be like, zip them on up and like, yay, we're done here. I don't have to do anything. It's not like the battle, because the other stuff you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways and you're so little, and did I tie that right? And then you're checking around here. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, is it going to go around his face? Like, like it's like it becomes a panic. But the other thing, it's like it's pajamas. Like, you know what I mean? It's literally like made. So I was like, those things are the best. Those are like the couple things is like teether toys all the way. Figures things like just give them everything to chew on, just be prepared that you're going to be disinfecting and cleaning toys constantly, because they'll be chewing on something and like look over and just like, and you're like, gosh dang, and then you got to go have another one to chew on, and you got to go clean that one. So you're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And then everything little they see, they're like, what is this little spot on the floor? I'm going to this fuzzball and stick it in my mouth. Like, that's stop sticking fuzzy. And like, yeah. And I'm like, stop sticking fuzzies. Like, how do you even see that little tiny dot? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I thought your vision isn't supposed to be this good, this fast. Like, yeah, there's like every little thing. They're like, I'm going to take it and stick it in my mouth. And I'm like,
immediately. Yeah, no, he's still doing that, and he's almost 2. And like, I'm in the kitchen, and here's this teeny tiny speck of something that is the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
When we started like going outside and starting doing things, because I was like, oh my God, I don't want my kid to whatever. And it was like, and he starts like getting into things, and he's moving around and running around and doing whatever. And my husband's like, Danielle, he's going to eat dirt.
I was just about to say,
do you know what I mean? He's like, yes. I need to prepare you.
He's going to eat dirt.
He's going to find it and stick it in his mouth. Like, and I was like, and he's like, I just need to prepare you that you and I have ate dirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone does it. He's a kid. He's got to go find out. But I do remember when he did manage to like get some whatever, he like stuck it in his mouth, and he was like, I was like, what is this? And I was like, thank goodness he'll never do that again.
Oh my God.
The funniest thing, I don't remember how old he was. He might have been about a year or something. Like, he was like running, he was getting around and crawling, and he was into things. He was just into things. Once they start moving, they're into everything. And so he just happened to like whatever, and he was playing, I think he was playing with like grass and playing with like stuff, and he was just feeling everything. I was like, oh, it's so cute. And then he just like, He's like,
and nobody moves faster. Nothing moves faster than a toddler who has something in their hand that they're not supposed to put in their mouth. No one moves faster than that.
No.
We had, I was in my friend's wedding, and they did a beach wedding. And this was last September. And, I was the maid of honor, and I was in the bridal party. And so I was like, okay, we have this playpen sort of type thing that you can set up on the beach, and that's fine. So my husband was in charge of the baby. Somehow he got out. I don't know how he did. And I'm watching this, and there's just this fistful of sand, and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna put it in his mouth.
Yep.
No, okay, I don't know how to get sand out of your mouth. I'm never going to be able to get all of the sand out of your mouth, but hey, have to realize that you're going to do it at some point.
I think we were trying to get a rag and like wipe his tongue, because he had his tongue out like, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was just like, what's happening? This isn't good. This isn't normal. He just had this face of like terror, like, and I'm like trying to like clean him out. Sorry, kid. And my husband's like, see, I told you he's gonna eat it. Like, he has to eat it. It's just like, part of what they do. But I was like, oh, but it's worse. Like, it's worse when you're trying to deal with it, because they're like, like, what's happening to me? But it's like, but you stick it in your mouth, like, but
right. And they're still too early for that like teachable moment where you're like,
yeah, you're gonna be like, don't do that again.
Yeah,
I know, because they're like little, they're
too
like,
young.
Oh yeah. Like it's funny because you have to like watch when you go out places. Like if you go to like a restaurant and you like sit them up when they're big enough to sit in like their like the high chair or little chair or something at the table, anything that they'll be looking at stuff. And if it's in their grab, like you would be surprised of the radius of how far a baby and child can reach. Mm-hmm. They can reach far and they can reach fast. They got these reflexes. You can have like a glass somewhere or silverware, or anything, pepper and salt shakers, and they can reach them so fast before you can get them out of their area. And they're like, and then if they got it, they got it. Like, they're like, this is mine. And then sometimes it's like, so then that's a battle. And then they're trying to stick it in their mouth, whatever it is.
Right.
They're like, I'm going to stick it in their mouth. I can't tell you how often I've been to restaurants and they have like giant menus. And my kid's trying to like get the menu and stick in it. I'm like, no, we're not going to stick a menu in your mouth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, but it's kind of like one of those. And we did have, when he was really little, between like, I think he was over 1 or something, they bring out like the little crayons and whatever. Yeah. That's really sweet and stuff like that. But he's little, he's going to eat the crayons. Right. He doesn't know what that is. Like, he's a baby, but people bring him out and, cause sometimes they have the kids menu on it or something. Right. They have stuff on there, which is fine. But when you stick it in front of a kid, they're like, oh, crayons, this is delicious.
Something bright.
Like, I love, oh my gosh, color. What is this? And I'm just like, oh my God, my kid. Like, yeah, it was just the stuff that you're doing. I was like, I do understand why people baby carry. They're like, their babies like attached to you. And it's like, I can't reach anything. Like,
strapped in.
They're just strapped to you, hanging out. Like, okay, I guess I can't grab things and put it in my mouth. Like,
right. Right. And it's funny because like, you also, it's also a lesson in like, oh my God, they're getting taller, because he'll, come into the room and reach up onto the table and you're like, he can't reach that. And he's like, oh, I'll take that challenge for you. I can. I will reach that and I will get it. And you're like, when did you get tall? How did this happen? Yeah, he did that. My kid did that last week with something. I can't remember what it was, but he was over on the dining room table and he came over and was like, oh, here's the thing. It's mine now. Run off with it.
Dude, they're fast. They're so fast. And I remember when my son was little and he was running around, or like he had like a little push walker and he would run around. And so my pediatrician was like, he can walk on his own, but he just doesn't want to. Maybe you can take the walker away. I was like, nope. And he's like, why not? And I was like, because once it's gone and he can walk around, that means he can get into everything. And I was like, I prefer, because he was that cool kid where he had this little walker where he'd push a button and be like, listen to my music. I know exactly where he is at all times because he's fast. He's like running around with this little push walker thing, and he would play his music and, whatever. And if he got stuck, he'd let you know. So I was like, no, I prefer this, because if not, he's going to run around. He's going to climb into things. He's going to be doing, I'm going to be like, where are you in the house? Because he's so fat. I have to like shut all the doors. Like, okay, we can only be in the living room. Like, I was like, no, like, I was like, it's right now. It's fine. I'm good with that. And sure. And my husband was like, no, it's fine. And I was like, I'm telling you. And so as soon as he got rid of the walker, that's exactly how it was. My kid never walked. Okay. I just want to make this clear. He didn't walk. He ran. He's only run. That's it. He doesn't know how to walk. He only knows how to run. And then after that, he learned how to skip and jump. Like there's no walking involved. I don't know what that means. Okay. Like, I'm like, God, like he's just gone. Like, I was like, and I was like, oh my God. And once he's doing certain things, like he'll be climbing things. Like he's going to be, and that's another thing. He sees stuff up there and he's like, I can get up there. Like, it's like, how did you get up there? He figures out a way to maneuver himself up there and crawls up on things. And I'm like, like how? It's so dangerous. Like, so scared.
And it's like, they look at you and they're like, okay, challenge accepted. There's this thing and I'm going to get it.
Oh yeah. If like my husband had something and he put it on the counter, he would just be like staring at it. Like, I'm totally going to get that. Like that is for me. He put that for me. I will find a way. And when my kids started getting a little bit more bigger, when he was getting bigger and whatever, he would get smart. We had like a little step stool at the bathroom, so we could get on the potty and, so he could wash his hands in the sink and do all these things. He's pretty independent. He just pick up a step stool and go anywhere around the house that he needed to get places. Did he need something in the fridge? He would open that door, put the step stool in, and be inside my fridge. Did he need something on the counter? He would take it over to where he needed. And I was like, this step stool is the worst thing of my life. Like, it was so good, like with potty training and washing hands and doing this. But man, once he figured out like what the step stool is all about and how he could use it and utilize it all throughout the whole house, I've taken that step stool away from him so many times. I was like, that's gotta go. I'd hide it. And then my husband would bring it back. I don't like holding him when he has to wash his hands at the sink. And I was like, don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. It's okay. It's safer this way. And then he'd bring it back. And then here's my kid climbing up stuff again. And so, I mean, now he's taller. So, the step stool doesn't mean anything because he can get into anything that he wants to. You can't hide anything from him because he's bigger. But at the time I was like, step stools are evil because he can get into anything. He would grab stuff and be like, Mom, look, it's a screwdriver. And I was like, stay there. Don't move. Don't try to climb down with a screwdriver. Just stay right there. Like, and my husband, like, I was like, what are you doing? And he would reach up and like, we'd hide scissors. Well, he knew what drawer the scissors were in.
Yep.
And even if we put him in the back of the drawer, he would go to the back of the drawer. We started putting them in things. He would go inside the thing to get the scissors out. So we had to teach him at like a super young age how to handle scissors to not be dangerous, because I was even as little, like the little kid scissors are like, they can like hurt a kid, like, like, you know what I mean? I was like, dangerous. And so it's like, we had to like teach him like scissor adequate, like, okay, this is how you hold the handle. This is how you walk. We had to teach him all this because I was like, he's so fast. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing you do. I'm like, that's all we can do. Like, because I learned right away, like everything that you think you're going to prevent, you can't prevent. It's just not possible. It's not in your human abilities for you to prevent your kid to do anything. Like, you cannot, like, it's not happening. You can try to be there every moment of every day and every night, and your kid is still going to get hurt. Your kid's like, things are going to happen that are beyond your control.